Hey, so today I want to talk to you guys about boredom. Boredom has been a thing in my family that isn't very popular. My mom often told us when we were little that if you're bored, you're a boring person, which wasn't very good. So basically, we weren't allowed to be bored, and that led us to be very creative about things that we hadn't actually thought about to do earlier. And I'm sure a lot of you know that when you really have nothing to do, which doesn't happen a lot today because we all have phones and we're always like this all the time. But when it does happen, we're forced to do things that we don't really do. Look around and go, okay, what can I do now? Like today I was bored, so I decided to make muesli. And it's in the oven right now. I made 2 huge batches. Like I don't even know how I'm gonna eat that, but 2 huge batches. And that was a way to deal with my boredom. Boredom. And then I picked up a book that was randomly in my bookshelf, and I was like, one of those really good books that you actually should read that you get from friends and families when you turn 20 or 25, and you never actually read them. But I actually read it this time. It's called The Prophet, and I started it. And for those of you who've read that book, so in the beginning you open it and you're like, wow. Okay, it's just the language of it is so complex and very intricate. But I actually read through half the book, and they talk about a lot of really cool things. Basically, the layout of the book is that there's a prophet, a man that has waited for years to sail across the sea to his homeland. I didn't quite understand where he was going, but to his homeland where he lives. And one day, finally, this boat arrives, and everybody in this city and town have learned to love this man because he's so wise. So when he leaves, everybody kind of makes a ring around him and they say, okay, but tell us about marriage, tell us about good and bad, or tell us about prayers, tell us about working, tell us about life, about love, about children. And he just goes into these subjects with the most amount of, it's like a thorough thought, because seemingly he's been on top of this mountain for the past years, or for the past probably 5 or 6 years. Just thinking and contemplating about things, because he said everybody can talk, everybody can open the mouth like I'm doing right now and just go blah, 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 blah. Question is, how much do they listen? And how much do they actually not just put into the world, but bring out of the world, put into themselves? Because oftentimes when we just talk, we don't learn a whole lot. We learn a whole lot about ourselves because we can hear what we're actually saying, and therefore kind of get to know ourselves better. But we don't actually learn more than already what's in our head. So I decided to get quiet, which doesn't happen that often. I admit it doesn't happen that often, but it did today. And I learned so much from this book, so much more than I would have calling a friend and saying, hey, should we have coffee? Because then I would have just talked about the things that I've been talking about for the past weeks, months, just because that's what we humans do. When we don't really know what to do, we resort to what we know, which isn't very new usually. So yeah, about boredom, my tip to you all, if you need a tip about being bored, is pick up a book, make muesli, go out for a walk, just get quiet. Because oftentimes when our schedules are so bam, 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 we have so much to do all the time, we forget to get quiet. Take that time off from ourselves, from our minds, from the world, and just go and actually learn more about ourselves than we would have otherwise. I have to go stir my muesli. So thank you guys so much for listening, and let me know what you did today that made you grow, made you learn. When you were a little bit bored, maybe when you had nothing to do for those 5 minutes on the subway when you weren't checking out your phone, what did you do? Did you look at people? Did you see them? Did you think about something you haven't thought about? Did you try to make your mind flexible and open up new passageways that you haven't explored before? Did you? I don't usually do it if I'm not forced to, so sometimes I actually force myself to be really, really, really bored. I actually don't book anything into my schedule for probably for a full day every month, which isn't a lot, 1 day every month, but still, that's what I can do right now. And I just allow myself to do nothing, which is great. All right, much love.